of May 2025, and we're continuing with our fourth chapter of Adi-lila Caitanya Caritamrta. Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tara Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadati Swapatantikam. Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahajabi Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavala Sarupe. Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunaivartanokalo, Samarpaitam Unnata Ujjvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam. Haripurata Sundara Dutikadam Vasatipita. Sadakridare Kandare Swaratu Vasachinandanaha. Yam pravajantamana petyam apetikriyam dvaipaeno viraha katara ajuhava putre titam mayatayo taravo vinedustam sarvabhutam hridim munimanatoshmi bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay shiptascha karmadi tarangamadye kripa maitvam sharanam prapana brinde namaste charanarvindam Bhajami radam aravinda netram smarami radam madhurashmitasyam vadami radam karuna bharatram tato mamanasti katina kapi tavaivasmi najivami tvaivina iti vignaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions of Dandavad pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nitya-lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarazarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions of times unto our dearmost Nitya-lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarazarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And unto our dearmost Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who has given us this immaculate epic of Caitanya Caritamrta. And to all our Rupanuga Guru Varg and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpa Tarupyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So coming to our subject, so just to refresh, the first chapter was about the spiritual masters. The second was establishing Mahaprabhu as that supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna himself, irrevocably. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami proves it, even grammatically, talking about the predicate, etc. It's very good that we have a little bit of a summary each time, and we get familiar with the stepping stones of the chapters, just as in Srimad Bhagavatam, we also try to, when we reach the 10th canto, we try to familiarize ourselves regularly with the previous 9 cantos. So in the same manner, I want to constantly be refreshing where we've already come from, so that we can, our familiarity with the sequence, etc. How is Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami presenting this masterpiece? Because it's most profound the way that he builds blocks, spiritual masters. Krishna himself, that supreme person, has manifested as Sachinandana Gaurahari. Third chapter, the external reasons, the principal external reasons, the loud calling of Advaita Acharya, and to gift the holy name. The holy name has been, every Kali Yuga, the holy name is there, but it's not empowered the same way that it's empowered in this particular Kali Yuga, because Mahaprabhu advents specifically to give that empowerment of the holy name. So we have this miraculous shelter to guide us constantly. If we didn't have this shelter, if we didn't have Mahaprabhu, if we didn't have our Guru Varga, where would we be? We'd have the Kalki avatar, and we'd be completely lost, bereft. But by some fortune, we happen to have taken our birth at this particular junction, this particular age, in the 28th Dwarka Yuga, Krishna appears, and straight after that, Mahaprabhu appears. So always count our blessings. And this fourth chapter is it's starting to describe Shakti. A lot of explanations about Shakti. We talked on Friday about Sandini, Sangvit, and Hladini extensively. And today we're going to cover the same topic again, because this is about Shakti. We have to understand that Mahaprabhu is manifesting the embodiment of that Shakti, who is Sri Radhika, because he wants to taste the beauty, the speciality directly of himself as Krishna. So he's taking the role of Shakti. Therefore, it's incumbent for us to deeply appreciate the nature of this Sat-Chit Ananda, this Sandini, Sangvit, and Hladini, to understand these terminologies. Actually, we can meditate on these terminologies for years, and every day we'll get a deeper appreciation from them, and getting more familiar with the nature of Sri Radhika's service to Sri Krishna and the extent of that love that Sri Radhika has towards Krishna. This is what this whole drama, we can say, or this whole unfoldment epic is about. It's about Radhika's love for Krishna. And a veil is going to be pulled across so that the living entities can actually witness that. And when we witness even a tiny fraction of it, it'll take our breath away completely, because it's so monumental. It's so away from this material life that we've been entangled in for so long, that Jiva has been conditioned. It's saying that Krishna Boli say Jiva Anadir Bakhir Mukh, that eternally we've been conditioned. Athaiva Maya, therefore Maya, Taredia, Samsara Dukh. Therefore this Maya will capture us and throw us into this world of suffering, samsara. And only by the remarkable fortune of Mahaprabhu are we going to have the opportunity not only to become liberated, not to become just focused on coming to Vaikuntha or Dwarka or Mathura or Ayodhya, but actually to go back to Goloka Vrindavan. It's so monumental, it's so incredible. When we look at how many billions of births we've cycled in this material world, how conditioned we've become to our belief that this body is me. So only by the mercy of Mahaprabhu and our Guru Varg manifesting from Rupa Goswami do we have the fortune to actually come out of here. So we're coming to our subject now. Text 63 is where we're up to. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vadini Shakti Samvit Tvaya Eka Sarva Samshrito Hlada Tapa Kari Mishra Tvayi No Guna Varjite. Translation: O Lord, you are the support of everything. The three attributes, Hladini, Sandini, and Sangvit, exist in you as one spiritual energy. This is Shakti. But the material modes, which cause happiness, misery, and mixtures of the two, do not exist in you, for you have no material qualities. So again, we're substantiating the position of Krishna himself, and naturally this is Mahaprabhu because he's Krishna, non-different. This is a purport, in the purport, sorry. This text is from the Vishnu Purana, 1.12.69. Text 64. Sandinira Sara Angsa Shuddha Sattvanam Bhagavanara Satahoya Yahate Vishram. The essential portion of the Sandini potency is Shuddha Sattva. Lord Krishna's existence rests upon it. It's described in the Jivadhamma, in that Shakti Tattva, that Krishna's body, everything that has existence, is manifesting from this Sandini Shakti. When you walk around in the street, when you go anywhere, every single object that you're seeing has existence in this material world. And that is also manifesting from the Sandini Shakti. And the Ishtadeva of that Sandini Shakti is Nityananda Rai, or Baladev Prabhu. But that potency has its origin in Swarup Shakti. That's its origin. Yes, Nityananda, Balaram are the Ishtadevs. They are managing it, we can say. They are producing all these objects in a mood of pure bhakti to Krishna. So, but that is all manifesting ultimately from Swarup Shakti. Text 65. Mata pita stane griha sayasanar ara esaba krishnera shuddha sattvara vikara. Translation. Krishna's mother, father, abode, house, bedding, seats, and so on are all transformations of Shuddha Sattva. I hope everyone's you have to be attentive to actually catch this. It's not just, we have to be concentrated. Purport. Lord Krishna's father, mother, and household affairs are all displayed in the same Vishuddha Sattva experience. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is calling it Vishuddha Sattva. Krishnadas Kaviraj has just said Shuddha Sattva. There's no difference in this context. A living entity situated in the status of pure goodness can understand the form, qualities, and other features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead when we are in that consciousness of pure goodness. Krishna consciousness begins on the platform of pure goodness when we elevate ourselves to pure goodness. Although there is a faint realization of Krishna at first, Krishna is actually realized as Vasudeva, the absolute proprietor of omnipotence, or the prime predominating deity of all potencies. This means that although there is a faint realization of Krishna at first, we have an idea of Krishna, that pastime prince of Braj. We have an idea, a conception of his pastimes. But then we come to an understanding of his actual magnificence. That has to be there. That Aishwarya aspect has to initially be there. Otherwise, we will transgress the etiquette in trying to, you can't just crash into Madhurya realm. There has to be full respect for that Supreme Lord. And then this Madhurya comprehension will be very simple for it. It'll be just completely spontaneously natural. We won't even think about it. But without that initial respectful process, which is in fact Vaidhi Bhakti, it starts from that point to purify. But, as I've said many times with this Pravriti Rag Pravriti Bhakti, we are focusing on Rag Marg, even though we're performing these rules and regulations. We must remember this very closely. When the living entity is situated in Vishuddha Sattva, transcendental to the three modes of material nature, he can perceive the form, quality, and other features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his service attitude, through his service, his mood of seva. Seva is the symptom of love. With that mood of seva, even in the Vaidhi stage, that's going to very quickly elevate us along. We must be performing savor constantly some type of, even just offering our bhoga each day, Krishna will accept that. And that offering, our awareness of what we're doing should become more significant each time we offer. Our consciousnesses are evolving. We should be able to see day by day this increase in appreciation, in attraction and affection for the Lord, going through different levels of realization. The status of pure goodness is the platform of understanding, for the Supreme Lord is always in spiritual existence. This is establishing Mahaprabhu is always on that Shuddha-sattva, Vishuddha-sattva platform. Even though his pastimes may sound quite familiar, certainly the Navadvip pastimes that Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur describes, those very intimate, sweet pastimes. Krishna is always all spiritual. Aside from the parents of the personality of Godhead, all the other paraphernalia of his existence are also essentially a manifestation of Sandhini Shakti. But Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is going to say in a couple of purports after this, the same as what Jayavadama says, that Krishna's parents are also a manifestation of this Sandhini Shakti. I'm not quite sure why it's been put here in this way. It says aside from the parents, as if the parents are not manifesting from that Sandhini Shakti. But it says categorically in Jayavadama, as well as one purport in a few minutes that we'll cover, where Prabhupada himself is saying that the parents and Krishna's own body are Sandhini means basically existence. His parents have existence. That's the nature of the Sandhini Shakti. They have existence. It's the existence potency. So all the personalities of Braj, they all have existence to perform the pastimes, and that existence is manifesting from this existence potency, which is Sandhini. To make this more clear, it may be said that this Sandhini Shakti of the internal potency of Swarup Shakti maintains and manifests all the variegatedness of the spiritual world. Yes, everything in existence in the spiritual world, as well as in the lower material worlds, is manifesting from this same principal energy. In the kingdom of God, the Lord's servants and maidservants, his consorts, his father and mother, and everything else are all transformations of the spiritual existence of the Sandhini Shakti. So he's saying it here. I'm not quite sure why that sentence was put there previously, saying aside from the parents. Although I don't want to jeopardize your confidence in this Shastra, but I asked Shamarani one time, because I'd found a couple of mistakes in the commentaries that seemed kind of strange. And I asked Shamrani, who's a most experienced devotee, and she had worked on this particular publication, doing all the artwork for it. They did tremendous, I think it was 3 or 4 months, they did something like 17 volumes. Prabhupada was just really wanting this Caitanya Caritamrta to manifest itself. He'd already written his purports, he wanted it publishing. So they were all working flat strap. And Shamrani mentioned to me that there's many mistakes actually in this Caitanya Caritamrta. So we should just have our antenna out and if we read sufficiently, we'll find that the body of text is sublime. But there are occasions, just like now, I don't quite know why it's saying one thing here aside from the parents, and then a little bit further down, his father and mother are all transformations of Sandhini Shakti. It seems to say something contradictory there, unless some can reconcile that. It doesn't seem to be consistent. The existential Sandhini Shakti in the external potency, that's in the Mayic potency, in the material world, similarly expands all the variegatedness of the material cosmos. That's what we just said. That this Sandhini Shakti is manifesting throughout, from the spiritual worlds to this Shakti. Basically, the Sandhini Shakti just means existence, the existence potency. Don't be disturbed by the language, Sandini. Just be peaceful about that. Sandini means existence, that's what it means. The existential Sandini Shakti in the external potency similarly expands all the variegatedness of the material cosmos, from which we can have a glimpse of the spiritual field. Yes, from here we can have a glimpse of that spiritual field by drinking this beverage of these divine inspirations and direction from our acharyas. Text 66. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudha Vasudev Sabdatatitam Yad Iyate Tatra Pumam Apavrita Sattve Cha Tasmin Bhagavan Vasudev Ya Akhoksaje Me Manasa Vidyate. It's a little hot today, sorry. Translation. The condition of pure goodness, Vishuddha Sattva, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is revealed without any covering, is called Vasudeva. In that pure state, the Supreme Godhead, who is beyond the material senses and who is known as Vasudeva, you see one has a long A and one doesn't, is perceived by my mind. That Supreme Person is perceived by my mind. The initial covering is called Vasudeva. And then when that covering becomes purified, then that same personality becomes revealed as Vasudeva, Sri Krishna. Understand? This text from Srimad Bhagavatam, this text from Srimad Bhagavatam 4.3.23, spoken by Lord Shiva when he condemned Daksha, the father of Sati, as an opponent of Vishnu, confirms beyond a doubt that Lord Krishna, his name, his fame, his qualities, and everything in connection with his paraphernalia exists in the Sandini Shakti of the Lord's internal potency. So there can be no contradiction here, that everything is manifesting, including his parents, including his own body, from this Sandini Shakti. Text 67. Krishna Bhagavata Gyan Samviterasar Brahma Gyani Daga Sabastara Parivar. Translation. The essence of the Sangvit Shakti. Now we've discussed Sandini, now we're going to discuss Sangvit. The essence of the Sangvit potency is known that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna. Sangvit means cognizance, means knowledge. First there's existence, then there's knowledge, and then there's going to be bliss. Quite a simple, divine, sublime progression. All other kinds of knowledge, such as the knowledge of Brahman, are its components. Yes, knowledge of the Brahman are parts of this Sangvit Shakti. So we're going through the Shaktis, because we're going to establish that Mahaprabhu ultimately is the relisher of that Shakti in his service to Krishna. He's going to become that Shakti. He's taking this Shakti as the Ashraya, as Radha's mood, Bhav and Kanti. This is the Shakti. So his Shakti is being explained. The activities of the Sangvit Shakti produce the effect of cognition. Both the Lord and the living entities are cognizant. Sri Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has full knowledge of everything, everywhere. That's Sangvit. And therefore, there are no hindrances to his cognition. He can have knowledge merely by glancing over an object, whereas innumerable impediments block the cognition of ordinary living beings. We're quite dull in comparison. The cognition of the living entities has three divisions: direct knowledge, indirect knowledge, and perverted knowledge. Sense perception of material objects by the mundane senses, such as the eye, ear, nose, and hand, always produces definitely perverted knowledge, because it's coming from a perverted perspective. We are the perverted reflection of that spiritual world, in the sense that we are seeing everything as related to me as being the center, rather than Krishna as being the center. This is the monumental perversion that we all experience in the Mayic world. Negative cognition of an object beyond the reach of sense perception is the way of indirect knowledge, which is not altogether imperfect, but which produces only fragmentary knowledge in the form of impersonal spiritualization and monism. Yes, this this is the state of the Brahmajyoti. The Brahmajyoti consists of Gyan and Vairagya, knowledge and renunciation. Those are the two qualities in the Brahmajyoti. And they're actually negative qualities. This renunciation is most certainly a negative quality. They're not direct attributes of a person. It's external from a person. This is how it's described in Jatnama. So this negative cognition of an object beyond the reach of sense perception. Yes, the Brahmajyoti is beyond the reach of sense perception. And therefore that is the impersonal. I hope I'm making myself clear. I hope this makes clear to everybody. But when the Sangvit Shakti of cognition is enlightened by the Hladini potency of the same internal energy, they work together, and only thus can one attain knowledge of the personality of Godhead. Very clearly described in the Jivadhamma that this knowledge begins in the mental quantum as Gyan, and then it comes into the heart where it mixes with the Hladini, that spontaneous place of joy, and then that knowledge becomes Vigyan and realized. It's saying the same. But when the Sangvit Shakti of cognition is enlightened by the Hladini potency of the same internal energy, we're talking about this directly coming from Swarup Shakti, they work together, and only thus can one attain knowledge of the personality of Godhead. The Sangvit Shakti should be maintained in that state. Material knowledge and indirect spiritual knowledge are byproducts of the Sangvit Shakti. This indirect spiritual knowledge is knowledge of Brahm and knowledge, Bhautik Gyan in this world, empiric knowledge. So that's the indirect knowledge, material knowledge and indirect spiritual knowledge. So Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is giving us very clear understanding of what is Sangvit, this cognition, Shakti, this cognition. But first we had Sandhini, now we're having cognition. Text 68. Ladinera sara prema sara bhav, bhave parama kashta nama mahabhav. Translation. The essence of Hladini potency is love of God. The essence of love of God is emotion, bhav. And the ultimate development of emotion is mahabhav. Take note that it doesn't have a long A at the end of bhav. It's not bhava. If it's bhava, that means the material world. We said cheto, darpanam, marjanam, bhava, maha, davati. This bhava means the material conflagration. So it's bhav, mahabhav. Purport. The product of the Hladini Shakti is love of God, which has two divisions, namely pure love of God and adulterated love of God. Only when the Hladini Shakti emanates from Sri Krishna and is bestowed upon the living being to attract him does the living being become a pure lover of God. This ignites the original potential within the jiva to wake up his attraction to the Lord. We've said so many times, this is a descending process, this avaroha panta. It's coming from above to wake us up, but that seed is already in the heart, in potential. Prakatan Vritti Satyate. Rupa Goswami is saying very clearly, it's there in potential, but needs to be woken up, and the Lord will wake it up. Only when the Hladini Shakti emanates from Sri Krishna and is bestowed upon the living being to attract him does the living being become a pure lover of God. And this is what Mahaprabhu is going to do. But when the same Hladini Shakti is adulterated by the external material energy and emanates from the living being, it does not attract Krishna, not slightly. On the contrary, the living beings become attracted by the glamour of the material energy. Is saying that verse I said initially, Ataiva Maya, Deyatiya, Samsara Duk. By that, therefore, this Mayic energy will cover the jiva. At that time, instead of becoming mad with love of God, the living entity becomes mad after material sense enjoyment. Don't we see that around us? And because of his association with the qualitative modes of material nature, he is captivated by its interactions of distressful and unhappy feelings. It goes back to the first chapter of Jivadhamma. Again, this nishag, this acquired nature. We've acquired this nature through the environment of considering ourselves to be part of the material environment. Therefore, we're, by nature, anand, that bliss is there, and we're trying to enjoy that material nature, which is temporary and can never be enjoyed. The title of that first chapter of Jivadhamma is called The Eternal and Temporary Dharmas. That's the title of a chapter. What is eternal and what is temporary? The jiva, this is what is knowledge. Has to be very clear. What is it? Bhagavad Gita is saying the same in the second chapter, all the way through. What is spiritual and what is material? What's that verse? Yehi shamspasudar doka duke yona eyuta yantakanta kuntaya nateshu ramate buddhi. There's this beautiful verse in Gita saying the same thing. Text 69. Mahabhav Swarup Shri Radha Thakurani Sarva Guna Kani Krishna Kanta Siromani. Translation. Shri Radha Thakurani is the embodiment of Mahabhav. She is the repository of all good qualities and the crest jewel among all the lovely consorts of Lord Krishna. So understand what Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj and how he's presenting it, as I said previously. This is all about Shakti Tattva. And Sri Radhika is the embodiment of that. Purport. The unadulterated action of the Hladini Shakti is displayed in the dealings of the damsels of Braj and Srimati Radharani, who is the topmost participant in that transcendental group. The essence of the Hladini Shakti is love of God. The essence of love of God is bhav, or transcendental sentiment, and the highest pitch of that bhav is called Mahabhav. Srimati Radharani is the personified embodiment of these three aspects of transcendental consciousness. She's the ultimate, that Sandini, Samvit, Hladini. She's the ultimate of that, because she's Swarup Shakti, where it's all manifesting from. She is therefore the highest principle of love of God and is the supreme lovable object of Sri Krishna. So this whole understanding is about this love between Radha and Krishna, which is manifesting through the pastimes of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. His ecstasies, etc., are manifestations of Radhika's love for Krishna. This is what he's tasting. Text 70. Tayorapi utpaya madhye Radhika Saravaditaka Mahabhav Swarupayam Gune Ativaryayasi. Translation. Of these two gopis, Radharani and Chandravali, Srimati Radharani is superior in all respects. She is the embodiment of Mahabhav, and she surpasses all in good qualities. Atyantika Adika, I was explaining the other day. Atyantika Adika means beyond the boundaries of limitlessness, fathomless. It's beyond those boundaries even. It has no boundaries. Purport. This is a quotation from Srila Rupa Goswami's Ujjvala Nilamani, Radha Prakaran 3. Text 71. Krishna prema bhavita yanra chitendriya kaya Krishna nija shakti radha kridara sajya saya. Translation. Her mind, senses and body are steeped in love for Krishna. She is Krishna's own energy, Swarup, and she helps him in his pastimes. This is what Mahaprabhu is all about. Purport. Srimati Radharani is as fully spiritual as Krishna. No one should consider her to be material. She is definitely not like the conditioned souls who have material bodies, gross and subtle, covered by material senses. She is all spiritual, and both her body and her mind are of the same spiritual embodiment. Don't forget who Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is writing this for. He's writing this for his new disciples, all his followers, coming from the Western world with no experience at all. And when they hear the familiarity of Radha and Krishna's pastimes, they might consider that Radhika is like a material manifestation. So he's categorically making this very clear. She's never on that platform. Thus her body, mind and senses fully shine in love of Krishna. She is the personified Hladini Shakti, the pleasure-giving energy of the Lord's internal potency, and therefore she is the only source of enjoyment for Sri Krishna, beyond Chandramali, beyond any of the other gopis. Krishna will leave them all. Anaya radito nunam bhagavan hare ishvara. Krishna leaves all the gopis during the Ras Leela. As soon as Radhika decides to leave that Ras Leela pastime, dance, then immediately Krishna has no interest to remain without Radhika's presence. So he leaves immediately. So this is accentuating the supremacy of Sri Radhika, who Mahaprabhu is embodying these feelings. So Radhika's tattva, to some degree, is being opened out here. Sri Krishna cannot enjoy anything that is internally different from him. Therefore, Radha and Krishna are identical. Radha, Krishna, Pranaya, Vikritya, Hladini, Shakti, Asmat, Ekatma. They are one. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shakti Man. Duve Vastu Veda Bhai, Nai, Shastra Praman. Radha and Krishna are identical. Shakti and Shaktiman. The Sandini portion of Sri Krishna's internal potency has manifested the all-attractive form of Sri Krishna. Yes, Krishna himself, that existence potency, has manifested Krishna. I've already said this. And the same internal potency in the Hladini feature has presented Srimati Radharani. And from Srimati Radharani we know all her Kaya Vyuhas are being presented. Who is the attraction for the all-attractive? Krishna is Madan Mohan, Sri Radhika is Madan Mohan Mohini. She is attracting that all-attractive personality. No one can match Srimati Radharani in the transcendental pastimes of Sri Krishna. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is writing that. Who can say he's not a lover, focused entirely on Sri Radhika? Are the Sakhas focused in the same way as Radhika, on Radhika? Text 72. Ananda Chinmaya Rasat Pratibhavita Bhistabhya Eva Nijarupatya Kalabahi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Golok, with Radha, who resembles her own spiritual figure, and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Hladini. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form, and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual ras. Purport. This text is from the Brahma Samhita 5.37. Text 73. Krishnera karya yache rasa asarvatane tana kridara sahaya yache suna vivarana. Translation. Now please listen to how Lord Krishna's consorts help him to taste rasa and how they help in his pastimes. Yes, these other Shaktis, the consorts manifested from Sri Radhika, her Kaya Vyuha, are going to support this ras. Text 74 and 75. Krishna Kanta Guna Dekhi Trivida Prakar Eka Lakshmi Gana Pure Mahishi Gana Ar Rajan Gana Rupa Ara Kanta Gana Sar Sri Radhika Haite Kanta Ganare Vishtar. Translation. The beloved consorts of Lord Krishna are of three kinds: the goddesses of fortune, the queens, and the milkmaids of Braj, who are the foremost of all. These consorts all proceed from Radhika, Kaya Vyuha. Text 76. Avatare Krishna Yache Kari Avatar Amsini Radha Hoite Tina Genera Vistara. Translation. Just as the fountainhead, Lord Krishna, is the cause of all incarnations, so Sri Radha is the cause of all these consorts, or establishing Radha Tattva. Text 77. Vaibhav Ganayena Tanra Anga Vibhuti Bimba Pratibimba Rupa Mahisira Tati. Translation. The goddesses of fortune are partial manifestations of Srimati Radhika, and the queens are reflections of her image. Reflections of her image. Actually, the queens, Srila Rupa Goswami, he writes in his Lalit Madhav and describes there fully the Dwarka Lila. And they're all manifesting from Braj. They're all the gopis who have taken form as queens. They've performed the Parakiya Ras in Braj, and now, for example, Sri Radhika, she goes via the sun planet, and then she manifests as Satyabhama. Chandravali, she manifests as Rukmini in Dwarka. Text 78. Lakshmi Gana Tanra Vaibhava Vilasam Sarup Mahishi Guna Vaibhava Prakasha Swarup. Translation. The goddesses of fortune are her plenary portions, and they display the forms of Vaibhav Vilas, just like Krishna's manifestations of his forms, plenary portions. The queens are of the nature of her Vaibhav Prakash. These terminologies are very helpful. Text 79. Akara Swabhave Veda Raja Devigan Kaya Vyuha Rupa Tandra Rasere Karan. Translation. The Brajadevis have diverse bodily features. They are her expansions and are the instruments for expanding rasa. Shri Radhika wants to only please her Lord, the Supreme Krishna, Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar. Krishna has the ability, he has the potency to taste many, many rasas. Akila Rasamrita Murti. He can taste so many millions of rasas. So Shri Radhika, she wants to manifest in her Kaya Vyuha so that Krishna can experience all these different rasas. But the original is always Shri Radhika. This is why Krishna is always partial, ultimately, to Shri Radhika. Text 80. Baho kanta vinanahe rasare olas lila rasa yaya laga buhata prakash. Translation. Without many consorts, there is not such exaltation in ras. Therefore, there are many manifestations of Srimati Radharani to assist in the Lord's pastimes. Radharani only wants to please the Lord. She wants to facilitate his ability, his happiness, his choice to experience many rasas. Text 81. Tara Madhye Brajanana Baba Rasa Bed, Krishna Karaya Rasa Dika Lila Svaped. Translation. Among them are various groups of consorts in Braj, who have varieties of sentiments and mellows. They help Lord Krishna taste all the sweetness of the rasa dance and other pastimes. Purport. As already explained, Krishna and Radha are one in two. They are identical. Krishna expands himself in multi-incarnations and plenary portions like the Purushas. That's from Narayan. That's the Mahavishnu, Karana Vishnu, we can say. Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Shiradaksha Vishnu. Similarly, Srimati Radharani expands herself in multi-forms as the goddesses of fortune, the Lakshmis of Vaikuntha, the queens of Dwarka, and the damsels of Braj. Such expansions from Srimati Radharani are all her plenary portions. All these womanly forms of Krishna are expansions corresponding to his plenary expansions of Vishnu forms. Just as Krishna manifests his forms, similarly Sri Radhika manifests his forms. These expansions have been compared to reflected forms of the original form. There is no difference between the original form and the reflected forms. The female reflections of Krishna's pleasure potency are as good as Krishna himself. If Krishna is going to consort, they have to be of the same potency, the same level. The plenary expansions of Krishna's personality are called Vaibhav Vilas and Vaibhav Prakash, and Radha's expansions are similarly described. The goddesses of fortune are her Vaibhav Vilas forms, and the queens are her Vaibhav Prakash forms. The personal associates of Radharani, the damsels of Braj, are direct expansions of her body. As expansions of her personal form and transcendental disposition, they are agents of different reciprocations of love in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, under the supreme direction of Srimati Radharani. She is the queen of Ras. She is, we say in Atma Tattva, we can say that Krishna is the supreme Lord. But in Rasa Tattva, Sri Radhika is. Sri Radhika is orchestrating through her Yogamaya potency. That is also manifesting from Sri Radhika. We're trying to fully embrace the highest conception of Shakti Tattva embodied in Sri Radhika here. The personal associates of Radharani, the damsels of Braj, are direct expansions of her body, Kayaviva, as expansions of her personal form and transcendental disposition. They are agents of different reciprocations of love in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, under the supreme direction of Srimati Radharani, and they all possess one particular quality. They are all totally attracted to Krishna, just as Srimati Radhika is, but they all have different nuances or different moods and flavors, but they all have the same eagerness to please Krishna, and that enthusiastic eagerness is all emanating from Sri Radhika, of course. That's the common ingredient within all of them. The exuberance of transcendental mellows is increased by the association of a large number of personalities similar to Radha, to Radharani, who are also known as gopis or sakhis. So we have the gopis, and they're called sakhis, and we also have the manjaris who serve those sakhis or gopis. The variety of innumerable mistresses is a source of relish for Sri Krishna, and therefore these expansions from Sri Radharani, from Srimati Radharani, are necessary for enhancing the pleasure potency of Sri Krishna, all in service to Krishna. All these manifestations are in service to Krishna, as we said. Their transcendental exchanges of love are the super excellent affairs of the pastimes of Vrindavan. Sometimes Radharani will detect in one particular gopi that her anurag, her attraction to Krishna, has increased exponentially, and she will arrange for that gopi to meet with Krishna. If that gopi says, no, I have to do my housework, etc., Radharani will say, I will do that. I will take care of everything. And so there's no envy or jealousy here, actually. And if there is, it's on the transcendental platform. That's called a rishya. That's a different lila. But Radharani is always wanting to bring those gopis who have exceptional anurag to Krishna directly for his pleasure, because Radharani is only concerned with Krishna's pleasure. Therefore, there's no material envy, there's no material jealousy. It's all transcendental. Their transcendental exchanges of love are the super excellent affairs of the pastimes of Vrindavan. By these expansions of Srimati Radharani's personal body, she helps Lord Krishna taste the rasa dance and other similar activities. Srimati Radharani, being the central petal of the Ras Lila flower, is also known by the names found in the following verses. So this Ras Lila pastime is the crest jewel of all Krishna's activities to attract the jiva, anugrahaya bhaktana manusyam deha ashrita. This verse, to attract the jivas to his wonderful pastimes. So the beauty of that Rasa Lila is just exceptional. It's the pinnacle of all Krishna's pastimes. Billions of gopis dancing, all in concise, beautiful steps. They're singing their song, reaches beyond this world. Most exceptional pastime. Text 82. Govinda Nandini Radha Govinda Mohini Govinda Sarvasya Sarvakanta Siromani. Translation. Radha is the one who gives pleasure to Govinda, and she is also the enchantress of Govinda. She is the be-all and end-all of Govinda, and the crest jewel of all his pastimes. Text 83. Devi Krishna Mai Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarva Lakshmi Mai Sarva Kanti Siroma Samohini Para. Translation. The transcendental goddesses, Srimati Radharani. The transcendental goddess, Srimati Radharani, is the direct counterpart of Lord Sri Krishna. She is the central figure for all the goddesses of fortune. She possesses all the attractiveness to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. She is the primeval internal potency of the Lord. She's that Swarup Shakti of the Lord. These are very beautiful glorifications of Sri Radha. Purport. This text is from the Brihat Gautamiya Tantra. Text 84. Devi kahi doyat mana parama sundari kimba Krishna puja krita vasanti nagari. Translation. Devi means resplendent and most beautiful, or else it means the lovely abode of the worship and love sports of Lord Krishna. Text 85. Krishna Mai Krishna Yara Bitara Bihare Yanra Yanra Netra Pade Yana Tanha Krishna Spore. Translation. Krishna Mai means one who's within and without our Lord Krishna. This is the nature of Sri Radhika. She sees Lord Krishna everywhere she casts her glance. Everywhere she looks, she only sees Krishna. Text 86. This is so potently composed and presented by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj that his language can penetrate our dull consciousnesses, and with his absolute words, his truthful words, they can bring us to a very high appreciation of this spiritual world, especially the centerpiece, who is Sri Radhika. Kimva prema rasamaya Krishna re swarup tanra shakti tanra saha hoya eka rup. Translation. Or Krishna Mai means that she is identical with Lord Krishna, for she embodies the mellows of love. The energy of Lord Krishna is identical with him. And as we said before, this loving mood from Sri Radhika originates from Radha to Krishna. It's Radha who is initiating this connection, not Krishna. Krishna is completely amazed at the love of Sri Radhika, and that love melts Krishna. But the initiator, the original, is Sri Radhika. And this is what Mahaprabhu wants to taste, that mood of the initiator, the Ashraya of Krishna. Purport. Krishna Mai has two different imports. First, a person who always thinks of Krishna both within and without, and who always remembers only Krishna. Wherever he goes and whatever he sees is called Krishna Mai. Also, since Krishna's personality is full of love, his loving potency, Radharani, being non-different from him, is called Krishna Mai. So Radhika is called Krishna Mai also. So all of these verses that we're saying through here are referencing verse 83. This Devi Krishna Mai Prokta. Srila Krishna's Kaviraj wants to open this verse out. Text 87. Krishna Vansha Purti Rupa Kare Aradhane Taiva Radhika Nam Purana Vakane. Translation. Her worship, Aradhana, consists of fulfilling the desires of Lord Krishna. Therefore the Puranas call her Radhika. Purport. The name Radha is derived from the root word Aradhana, which means worship. The personality who excels all in worshipping Krishna may therefore be called Radhika, the greatest servitor. This is why Krishna is so much attracted to her. She's the greatest servitor in existence. She's manifesting billions of other Lakshmis or Gopis to also please Krishna. This is what's being described. Text 88. Anaya radito nunam bhagavan hare ishvaraha yanno vihaya govinda vitoyam anayadraha. Translation. Truly the personality of Godhead has been worshipped by her. Therefore Lord Govinda, being pleased, has brought her to a lonely spot, leaving us all behind. So this was when the gopis discovered the two sets of footprints after they had been searching through the forest for so long for their dear Lord. Then they suddenly realized that he's with another gopi, he's with a gopi. The Swapaksh gopis, Radhika's own camp, could recognize instantly this is Radhika. But the Vipaksh, Surit, and Tatashta gopis, they couldn't recognize these footprints. They didn't know the markings of Radhika's footprints particularly. So they weren't recognizing that. But they were understanding that Krishna is with somebody else. And the purport here is that Krishna is more attracted to this one person. She must have served Krishna more than anyone else. This is what the verse is saying. Truly the personality of God has been worshipped by her. Therefore Lord Govinda, being pleased, has brought her to a lonely spot, leaving us all behind. This is the quintessence, this is the height, the pinnacle of Sri Radhika in comparison to anyone else. This Atyantika Adhika, beyond the limits. That's how she's described, her qualities. Purport. This is a text from Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 30, 28. Text 89. Ataiva sarva pujya Parama Devata, Sarva Palika Sarva Jagatera Mata. Translation. Therefore Radha is Parama Devata, the supreme goddess, and she is worshipable for everyone. She is the protectress of all, and she is the mother of the entire universe. Text 90. Sarva Lakshmi Shabda Purve Kariyache Vyakhyana Sarva Lakshmi Ganera Tinhohana Adistana. Translation. I have already explained the meaning of Sarva Lakshmi. Radha is the original source of all the goddesses of fortune. Text 91. Kimba Sarva Lakshmi Kin Krishnera Sadvidha Aishwarya Tanra Adistari Shakti Sarva Shakti Varya. Translation. Or Sarva Lakshmi indicates that she fully represents the 6 opulences of Krishna. Therefore, she is the supreme energy of Lord Krishna. Text 92. Sarva Sundari Kanti Vaishya Yanhate Sarva Lakshmi Ganera Sabhahoya Yanha Haite. Translation. The word Sarvakanti indicates that all beauty and luster rest in her body. All the Lakshmis derive their beauty from her. Text 93. Kimva Kanti Shabde Krishna Shaba Ichala Kahai Krishna Sakala Vansha Radheta Rahe. Translation. Kanti may also mean all the desires of Lord Krishna. All the desires of Lord Krishna rest in Srimati Radhika. So as we've said many times before, Radhika arranges, or she becomes inspired to go in man to give Krishna service. Krishna also loves the service of breaking Radhika's man. So she facilitates Krishna's opportunity to serve also. In all senses, Radhika is only thinking of the happiness and pleasure of Krishna in every single sense, especially in her man sense. She's also considering the pleasure of Krishna to perform the service to break that man. Text 94. Radhika Karena Krishner Vanshita Purana Sarva Kanti Shabdera E Artha Vivarna. Translation. Srimati Radhika fulfills all the desires of Lord Krishna. This is the meaning of Sarvakanti. Text 95. Jagat Mohana Krishna Tanhara Mohini Ataiva Samstera Pura Para Takurani. Translation. Lord Krishna enchants the world, but Sri Radha enchants even him. Therefore she is the supreme goddess of all. Text 97. Text 96. Radha Puna Shakti Krishna Puna Shaktiman Duevastu Vedanai Shastra Praman. We've quoted this verse many times. Sri Radha is the full power, and Lord Krishna is the possessor of full power. The two are not different, as evidenced by the revealed scriptures. Text 97. Mrigamada Taraganda Yache Avircheda Agni Jvalate Yache Kabu Nahi Beda. Translation. They are indeed the same, just as musk and its scent are inseparable, or as fire and its heat are non-different. Text 98. Radha Krishna Aiche Sada Eka Eswarup Lila Rasa Aswadite Dare Due Rup. Translation. Thus Radha and Lord Krishna are one, yet they have taken 2 forms to enjoy the mellows of pastimes. So I'm going to stop here, because now the focus primarily has been on Radha Shakti, or Shakti Tatra. I'll actually just finish 2 more verses here and bring it to verse 101. Text 99 and 100. Prema Bhakti Shikate Apane Avatari Radha Bhav Kanti Due Angikara Kari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Rupa Kaile Avatar Eta Panchama Shloker Artha Paracha. Translation: to promulgate Prem Bhakti, devotional service in love of Godhead, Krishna appeared as Lord Krishna Chaitanya with the mood and complexion of Sri Radha. Thus I have explained the meaning of the fifth verse. So now text 101. Shasta Sloker Artha Karite Prakash Pratame Kahiye E Slokere Abbas. Translation: to explain the sixth verse, I shall give a hint of its meaning. So we can stop here. There's a good place to stop. So these verses, remember where these verses were that we've just been through. And perhaps you want to read them through alone and just chew out the beauty and sweetness and juice that are in these descriptions of Sri Radhika. They are completely excellent, what Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj is giving us. And this is all in connection with Mahaprabhu's identity. First of all, by telling us the nature of Shakti Tattva, this Sandini, Sangvit, Ladini, and now describing directly the form and nature and Swarup of Sri Radhika. We have to appreciate this, Radhika's potency, her personality, because this is who Krishna has come to taste in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the reason for Krishnadas Kaviraj opening it so gloriously, describing Radhika's glories. Shri Caitanya Caritamrta Ki Jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavevacha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Shrimati Radharani, Vrishabhananandini, Rajeshwari Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.